Your cat has a perfectly good perch by the window, a warm patch of sunlight on the bedroom floor, a cushion claimed so thoroughly it has permanently taken their shape. And the moment you stand up and walk toward the bathroom, they are on their feet, following you down the hall, slipping through the gap before the door closes, or sitting directly on the other side of it if they don't make it in time, waiting. Most people file this away as one of those things cats simply do. Quirky, a little absurd. The kind of behavior you describe to someone and end with, I don't know, cats are weird. But it isn't random. There is a specific explanation for why your cat chooses the bathroom above any other room, and why the moment that door closes, something measurable shifts in their behavior. Not when you walk in, when the door closes. What researchers have found about that particular moment reframes everything this behavior looks like. And we'll get to it. Start with the most obvious explanation. Your cat is curious and wants to know what's happening in every room. It sounds reasonable. Cats are explorers. Of course, they follow you places. But John Bradshaw, an ethologist at the University of Bristol, explored in his 2013 research synthesis on domestic cat behavior how cats map their home as a series of overlapping territories with distinct scent ownership patterns. Every room a cat uses regularly is embedded in that territorial mental map. The bathroom is a room the owner occupies daily, in close physical contact with surfaces carrying a concentrated personal scent signature. But a room the cat occupies rarely. Its own territorial claim there is thin compared to the bedroom or the living room. That's not curiosity. That's ownership logic operating in a room the cat doesn't fully own yet. Following you in is the cat asserting its presence in a space where its own scent claim is comparatively weak. You are the territorial anchor, and that explains why the bathroom specifically draws them rather than rooms they already dominate. But it does not explain why the cat needs to be there when you are there, as opposed to investigating the room at any other point in the day. That asymmetry points somewhere else entirely. Field studies on free-ranging cat colonies, documented by ethologist Eugenia Natoli and colleagues from the 1980s onward, established that colony members maintain affiliative bonds and proximity with familiar companions. That drive to stay physically close to bonded individuals does not disappear in domestic cats. Research on cat-owner relationships from the University of Lincoln extended this picture. Cats use their owner as a reference point in environments containing ambiguous or unfamiliar stimuli. The cat is not only there to keep an eye on you, it is also drawing something from your presence. The guarding runs in both directions. The bathroom, with its running water, enclosed acoustics, and behavioral patterns the cat cannot fully read, is precisely the kind of context in which that reference point matters most. You are the figure that anchors the cat's sense of what is safe in its environment, and the bathroom is a room where that anchor is needed. What looks like the cat watching over you is also the cat orienting toward you because you make the space legible. That explains why presence matters. It does not yet explain the precision of the behavior. The cat that appears at the bathroom door simultaneously with you, or arrives before you've fully stood up. If this were simple following, there would be a consistent delay. There often isn't. Atsuko Saito and Kazutaka Shinozuka at the University of Tokyo in 2013 tested 20 cats and established that domestic cats distinguish their owner's voice from a stranger's voice with measurable precision, responding selectively to the specific bonded individual, not to humans in general. Cats track particular people, and they track them with enough granularity to build predictive models of their behavior. Bathroom visits are among the most temporally reliable patterns in an owner's day. The same approximate time of morning, the same sequence of movements leading up to them, the same duration. For an animal whose survival historically depended on recognizing when prey moved, when conditions shifted, when routines broke, the owner's bathroom routine is one of the most predictable behavioral sequences available. The cat has not simply noticed the pattern. It has mapped it with enough resolution to anticipate it. Think about what that means. Your cat is not following you to the bathroom. It is arriving with you because it learned your schedule. Once inside, the intensity of the cat's investigation adds another layer. One that has nothing to do with your movement and everything to do with what the room contains. A cat's olfactory system processes the world at a sensitivity that makes the bathroom, from the cat's perspective, something entirely different from what you experience. Shed skin cells, hair, traces carried by running water. The bathroom accumulates a denser concentration of owner-specific scent than any other room in the home. The investigation your cat conducts in there is thorough because the information available there is unusually rich. What looks like a cat being underfoot is often a cat working through a dense sensory field, gathering data that happens to be, almost entirely, data about you. All of this, the territorial logic, the bidirectional proximity, the anticipatory mapping, the olfactory investigation, explains why the behavior exists. What none of it explains is why, for many cats, the behavior has grown more insistent over time, and why it persists even when the owner consistently closes the door and nothing ever comes of waiting on the other side. The answer to that is straightforward, and it is worth understanding precisely because it is often misread. BF. Skinner's foundational work on variable ratio reinforcement, the condition where a behavior is rewarded sometimes but not consistently, established that this schedule produces the most persistent behavioral patterns known. Dr. Karen Overall, in her Clinical Behavior Reference Manual published in 2013, documents this mechanism in its application to cats specifically. If you have ever opened the bathroom door in response to scratching or calling, the behavior was reinforced. Not on a reliable schedule, but on a variable one, which is exactly the condition that makes a behavior most resistant to extinction. That's not devotion. That's operant conditioning. What the reinforcement explains is the persistence. What it does not explain is the origin, why the behavior begins at all, and what is actually happening in the cat's brain the moment that door clicks shut. That is what was planted at the start, and this is where it lands. Kristen Vitale and colleagues at Oregon State University in 2019 adapted the strange situation procedure for use with domestic cats. The strange situation is the attachment assessment psychologists developed to measure how human infants respond to separation from their caregivers, and it had never been systematically applied to cats before. Across 2 separate experiments, one with kittens, one with adult cats, totaling over 100 subjects, the findings were clear. The majority of cats were classified as securely attached. They used their owner as a secure base, a figure whose presence regulated their sense of safety in the environment and whose absence measurably destabilized it. The bathroom door in that framework is a miniature version of that procedure. You are present in the home, but suddenly inaccessible. The cat cannot confirm your location in the ordinary way. It cannot social reference, cannot read your face or your body for cues about whether the current environment is safe. The door does not signal that you have left. But to the attachment system that Vitale's work documented, it represents an abrupt interruption of access to the one figure that anchors the cat's sense of security. The calling, the pressing, the waiting, none of that is manipulation. It is the same fundamental check that runs in any securely attached creature when the figure it orients towards steps behind a closed door. The scale is different. The underlying system is the same. Think about that the next time you hear them on the other side. The bathroom offers nothing your cat needs in any practical sense. There is no food bowl, no toy, no warm patch of afternoon light. There is only you. And the fact that an attachment system activates specifically when a door separates you, in a room with nothing else to offer, is one of the least ambiguous readings available of what your presence actually means to them. The territorial logic was real. The proximity drive was real. The anticipatory mapping and the reinforcement history were real, but underneath all of those layers was one thing: an animal for whom your proximity is not a preference, but a baseline, and a closed door is simply the clearest way that baseline gets interrupted. If you want to understand what your cat is doing when it stares directly at your face, not at food, not at a toy, just at you, the research on that is more specific and more layered than most people expect, and it's the next video.